The hardware business, which is different than Jack's business, which was a software business, online, community-driven. Yours is slightly different. Could you talk a little bit about your experience over the last 15, talk about some of the challenges that you faced over the last 15 years to growing a hardware business, where it was in 1999, and some of those obstacles to scale?
Sure. I would say that hardware is probably one of the hardest things that you could do. I mean, they call it hardware for a reason, because it's really hard. And I started in 1999. It was actually a personal ambition, like a love of the technology that drove me to it, because I was interested myself to optimize my fitness and weight loss after having children and having gained a lot of weight traveling internationally for an IBM subsidiary and doing all sorts of crazy things in high tech, which I'd been doing for 15 years, and I realized I needed to bring balance into my life and to really sort of focus on my own fitness and health and improvement. And I came upon the fact that heart rate monitoring and using a heart rate monitor was actually the best way to optimize your health and fitness. And when I looked at the available technologies out there, the only thing that was out there was a product that had a chest strap, and it transmitted your heart rate to a watch, which to me was just a ridiculous form factor that hadn't changed since 1976 when it was first introduced. So it was really, a real interest of mine. I went and I hired some engineers just for fun, and I put together a little prototype, and I went down to a trade show, and QVC came to my table, and they said to me, and here I've got this Nike watch hanging off this breadboard with circuitry on it. And QVC said to me, well, if you can actually miniaturize this thing and put it into a product, we'll buy it. And, well, heck, I got my first sale. Isn't that exciting? So I actually quit my multi-$100,000 a year job. I've started the first SAP practice in Canada. So it was I was making pretty decent money. And I did that. I quit my job. My husband was really supportive. And I have to say that it was probably the most difficult thing to actually get that technology into a watch. It took us about another 2 years to do that. But when we finally did do it, and we had massive defects, 30% defects, and when the first products arrived from China, the printing was on them backwards. And, and the Chinese decided to make all these decisions for me around, the way that it should be developed inside to save a little bit of money and not tell me about it. And of course, that led to all sorts of interesting problems. And so when I got this thing, it was almost unsellable. And, so we had to start from scratch and do it all over again. And we did do that, and we managed to bring out some new products, and I was all excited, and I had used up my own personal nest egg that my husband had said, okay, well, we can afford to lose this much money. I went and hired some angel investment, and the money that I brought in was great. He was a wonderful man, and he really helped me a lot. He gave us $100,000, and we pulled in some friends and family money. I raised about $500,000. I brought the next product to market. I filmed a beautiful infomercial, spent $250,000 on the infomercial, and we bought $50,000 worth of media. And I was so excited. I woke up in the morning to see my infomercial air. I remember this very clearly. It's a Thursday morning.
What year is this?
2001. Yeah, September the 11th. Okay? There was $400,000 that I just raised. It's just gone out the window. So, the Babson College did a study of 21 of its most successful graduates and what it was that actually caused them to be successful. And the number one thing they found was resilience. The ability to bounce back from setbacks is the one thing that fundamentally determines your success as an entrepreneur. And I have to say that I feel like one of those whack-a-moles, like you pop your head up once and boom, you're hit and you have to pop up somewhere else. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to pop up from a different hole before I'm hit on the head again. But, over the years, we've managed to get to the point where we are. We have a really lovely business. We did a Kickstarter project a couple of years ago that was really successful. And the other real important thing is to continuously innovate. The fellow from Nova was talking about that as well. The first product I brought to market, actually, you had to touch the top of it to get your heart rate, which was wonderful and extremely disruptive at the time, but it has its limitations for athletes that like to go quickly. And so we have been striving to find continuous heart rate monitoring that's accurate for athletes. We found that. We launched a product a couple of years ago. And we are now, in every Apple store worldwide. We're in major sporting goods retailers and distributed in 37 countries, and we've scaled. It has grown to be terrific. And the one thing that's really interesting is you have to have sort of a 20-year vision for your business. You have to really know where it's going to go. And I've always known, given my background from Oracle and from Teradata and big data kind of background, I always knew that wearables were the last mile, sort of the last part to really the Internet of Things. Because without the data from the individuals, the biometric data combined with the location data, weather data, payment data, all that stuff put together, you can't really have a true Internet of Things. And so what we have been working towards is getting that last mile completed. It's like when the broadband carriers finally got rid of the copper wire to the houses. That was kind of the last mile. Wearables is the last mile. We're on our way to the singularity. So, that's the next challenge, is to get everybody not just to wear them, but to implant them. But we won't talk about that yet.
So I